With interest rates still so high and home values also at historic highs, is now the right time to buy a home in Healdsburg, or should you wait a little? So watch the end of this video and I'll show you how I put my money where my mouth is. So let's break it down. What is the market like in Healdsburg? The short answer is it's competitive. Even with interest rates at higher levels than we've seen for a while, there are still lots of buyers out there. In fact, the number of buyers are still outnumbering the number of sellers, which is why we're seeing such a competitive market right now. People will often come to me and say, but David, sales are down, so why do you say it's still a strong market? Well, that's true, sales are down. They're down nearly 15% compared to this time last year, but they're only down because the number of new listings is also down. In fact, the number of new listings is down 20% year over year. So that there right tells you it's a competitive market with the number of sales down less than the fall in listings. Another key measure of the health of the market is looking at house prices and how they've changed over time. In fact, a market like Healdsburg, it's important to really understand the data because it can be very misleading. I can tell you that the average price for a home in the most recent quarter versus the same quarter last year has increased by 23%. However, if you own a home, that doesn't mean your home's increased by 23%, because this is an average of the 44 homes sold over the quarter. All it takes is therefore to be a couple of, say, $10 million homes selling, and it totally distorts the numbers. A much better representation is to look at the change in the median price. This is a measure that really takes away the outliers that distort the data. If we look at median prices, they've increased, but by a much more modest 11%. This is still incredibly strong growth. But what are the drivers of this house price growth? Well, one of the biggest factors is the continuing upward trajectory of Healdsburg as a town. Everything from the new restaurants, the new wineries, new developments such as the North Village, Mill District and Montage are all helping raise the profile of Healdsburg as a destination for people in the Bay Area, but also from much further afield as well. Well, the greater Healdsburg area is a big area covering 188 square miles. The city is only 7 square miles, so there are a finite number of homes, and because there is a growth ordinance in place which caps the number of new homes that can be built within the city every year, the homes that are here will only likely to continue to rise in value because of the limited supply. Pretty much the entire allocation of new homes for the next 5 years has been taken up by the new construction projects at Mill District, North Village and Montage, which is why when you walk around town, all you seem to see at the moment are houses being knocked down in order to build a new one. And this is exactly what happened at 428 University, where a developer bought a home for under $1 million. In fact, it was under $900,000, and has now built a spec home and is trying to sell it for $10.5 million. From a city planning's perspective, this doesn't count as a new home because an old home was knocked down. On Tucker Street, we're seeing a similar thing. Arguably the best street in the town, there are now 2 major new construction projects taking place on Tucker where, again, old houses have been knocked down. All of these new construction projects, whether they're the big developments or individual homes being knocked down and replaced by either a spec home or a custom home being built by an individual, they'll all have an impact on overall home prices. When you see a condo selling for $2,500 per square foot, in the minds of many people, it does set a new benchmark for, what a new home might sell for that has its own yard and which also has a modern aesthetic. While it might not get the same lofty dollar per square foot as, some of the condos in Mill District, for example, it will only push up the dollar per square foot values in one direction. So is now a good time to buy in Healdsburg? I mean, the big question I ask myself is whether Healdsburg is likely to become less popular. I mean, I live here and I absolutely love it, so maybe I'm biased, but I just can't see it getting any less popular. If we know the number of homes is finite, and we know more people want to come and visit here and buy a home, there's only one result, and that's for the prices to keep going up. So if interest rates were to go down, say, go down in 2024, is that going to decrease the number of buyers? Well, no, it's not. So if interest rates do go down, I can only see the market becoming more competitive, not less competitive. That's not to say you can buy anything in Healdsburg and it will inevitably increase in value by 10% year on year. That's just not true. You have to be smart. I mean, I often get asked, so tell me, David, where's the best value in Healdsburg, or where is the best investment? In my mind, these are two very separate things. When it comes to the best value, I still think the 55 plus community, which is about a mile and a half from the plaza, is still among the best value in the city. For $800,000, you can buy a remodeled 2 or 3 bed single level home with access to green space by the river. It's hard to find anything that compares for less than, say, $1 million. If I was thinking about the best investment, I would say a downtown property that's something unique about it. For example, there's a property that's about to come on the market which sits on an acre in the downtown area. And this is one of the biggest lots in the downtown area and is certainly one of a kind. Something like that may never come up again, so it will forever be the best lot in town. In 10 years' time, this will still be an incredibly sought after asset. Probably even more so when even more people have discovered the magic of Healdsburg. Perhaps that's an extreme, but the same logic follows for any purchase in the downtown area. If you find a home that is in a good location on one of the bigger lots, it will be a good investment. When people are paying $8 million for a penthouse condo in Mill District, there will always be a market for a home on a good lot where you can have your own pool, outdoor-indoor living space, a short walk from the plaza. The other investment opportunity I would highlight would be a home just outside the city limits that has a more rural feel. There will always be a market for properties close to town that feel like they're in the middle of wine country, overlooking vineyards. If it is eligible to be a vacation rental, then that will only increase the value of it as an investment. Because the counties tightened up the vacation rental rules restricting the number of places where you can purchase a vacation rental close to Healdsburg City, any property that is eligible to be a vacation rental and has a rural feel will always be a good investment in both the short term and the longer term. So why do people love Healdsburg so much? I mean, I've mentioned the popularity of the good food and the wine scene, but there's much more to it than that. I can't tell you how many clients I've spoken to who've moved here from San Francisco, either with a small family or have moved here because they're looking towards retirement. They all comment on how easy it is to feel part of Healdsburg. If you want to know more, I've got a couple of videos about retiring in Healdsburg and also moving here with a young family. The sense of community definitely comes from the engagement of the community in numerous events throughout the year, from a July 4th parade and fireworks, to a turkey trot at Thanksgiving, to the regular music on the plaza on a Tuesday night. If you wanted to, pretty much every week you could find some sort of free event to attend which will be put on by the community for the community. Because it is a small town of just 11,000 people, it's easy to run into the same people, further cementing those relationships. So it's hard to put my finger on exactly what it is that makes Healdsburg so special. But it's just an easy place to meet like-minded people who don't really have anything to prove. It's like everyone is very comfortable in their own skin, so just gets on with enjoying life. For me, it really brings it home when I revisit Marin and go to Mill Valley. Even just sitting in a coffee shop or restaurant in Mill Valley, there's just an intensity and a competitiveness that just isn't here in Healdsburg, which makes it just a much more relaxing place to be. I'd be hard pressed to find anyone who didn't settle into Healdsburg more quickly than they thought they would. I was talking to a client the other week and he told me that in 2 years, he'd made more friends in Healdsburg than he had in a decade living in San Francisco. I mean, that to me says everything. So is it a good time to buy in Healdsburg? If you find a place that you love, it's unlikely it'll be cheaper next year than this year for all the reasons I've mentioned. However, make sure it's a place that has a clear selling point. A home with a large lot near the plaza, or a home with a great view, or a home on the edge of town with a vineyard and pool. So if you ask me if now is a good time to buy in Healdsburg, I'd say yes. In fact, I've done exactly that. I'm just about to close on a place that's just over a mile from town, with a vineyard view and with a pool. So I definitely practice what I preach. I get calls all the time from people moving home, specifically around the Healdsburg, Windsor and Sonoma areas. So reach out to me if you're looking at buying in or around Sonoma County or would like to know more. My number's in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you'll love the next one. Now, thanks for watching. Until the next one, go well.